How do you find strong returning mobile home park deals in an unreasonable seller's market? My name is Ryan Naris. Over the last 18 months, my company, Archimedes Group, has sourced 5 profitable mobile home park deals of varying sizes. I've spent the last 9 months living on and off in a double wide as the physical property manager on one of these properties with one goal in mind: learn from the front lines. Beginner, intermediate, or advanced, I can help you grow. And we'll start with my best advice: Endgame.
Warning. This podcast features the truth about owning and operating mobile home parks. The following program is not designed to be sexy. It will not hype you up on MHPs. Rather, this is a raw take on this industry and how you find your own path to success. Welcome to MHP IRL, Mobile Home Parks in Real Life, with your host, Ryan Naris.
When I attended the SECO conference in the fall of 2017, the moderator asked the vast sea of people, who is interested in selling a mobile home park? Maybe 5 people raised their hands. Now, when he asked the logical next question of who is interested in buying a mobile home park, nearly everyone raised their hands. I'm talking 300 plus attendees. As of this recording in early 2018, the mobile home park market is frothier than a grandiose Starbucks Frappuccino. In other words, lots of sugar, very little coffee substance. So, how do you find good deals in this market? On this episode, I'm going to take you on a bit of an unexpected ride. Like Tim Ferriss points out in the 4-Hour Workweek, there's a difference between being productive and just active. I'm going to reveal unproductive time traps slowing your business's growth. I'm also going to spell out activities worth your time that aren't necessarily obvious. Good deals do exist in frothy markets. You've just got to know where to spend your time. Let's begin. Stephen Covey's influential book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, contains a chapter that changed the course of my life, called Begin with the End in Mind. It's a simple yet genius concept. If you know exactly what you want, you can figure out exactly how to get there. You won't be shocked and disappointed years later that you worked so hard for something that you never actually wanted. That insight helped me unearth a latent truth in my own personal life, which was that I didn't really want to climb the corporate ladder. Through introspection, I realized that the further up I climbed this ladder, the more I'd be exchanging my time for a little bit more money and a little bit more status that ultimately would not make me happy. A conversation that really hit me close to home was when I was speaking with a general manager of a car dealership who said that the toughest part about being a GM is knowing that he missed all of his son's birthday parties and baseball games. And for what? For $300,000 a year and Sundays off? He barely knows his son. He said he would trade it all back to start over, this time not chasing some ego-fueled dream that ultimately didn't deliver him happiness. But having family time isn't for everyone. Some people are perfectly happy never having children and chasing a career. So why would someone like that ever take pro-family advice if that wouldn't make them happy 20 years from now? More importantly, why is it any different in mobile home parks? It's not. If you're meant to be a primarily park-owned home operator, why would you ever look at tenant-owned home only opportunities? If you're interested in being a large operator, why would you limit yourself to certain specific geographical markets? Put it another way, as an engineer once told me, before you build the bridge, you must first imagine the end product, then you can reverse engineer starting from the foundation. So, what's the most efficient way to grow your company? Understand what you want. Understand exactly what you want. Just like the engineer, You have your vision, and from that vision, you can reverse engineer the most efficient way to get there. So you can't take steps in the right direction if you don't know what the right direction is. Two conversations I had with two different first-time buyers present the perfect juxtaposition for the importance of Endgame. For their privacy, we'll refer to these first-time buyers as John and Sam. Both John and Sam want to supplement their income via mobile home parks. They're both family men looking to drop their corporate jobs and spend more time with their kids. They both have a plan to own 2,000 mobile home park pads in 5 years. Both want to be the sole owners of their mobile home parks as well. On paper, they both want the exact same thing. Sounds specific enough to reverse engineer, correct? What's the problem? One wants to supplement $500,000 a year, and the other just $100,000. In other words, the math doesn't add up. They're about to build their respective bridges on faulty foundations. But it goes even deeper than that. Let's start with the John story. John needs to supplement $500,000 a year. Step 1, reverse engineer. John's net worth is about $2 million. For hypothetical purposes, let's say that $2 million is cash. 75% LTV would buy him $8 million worth of mobile home parks. Let's say these pads that he finds and buys average about $20,000 an occupied pad. Do the math. That's only 400 occupied pads with his entire net worth. That's sobering. And I made several big, optimistic assumptions there, and we only reach 400 pads, not even a quarter of the way to his 2,000 goal. Moreover, 20% cash-on-cash returns on $2 million is only $400,000 a year, short of his goal by about 20%. So, what should John do then? He needs to take a step back and spend time thinking about what he truly wants from this industry. Then, he can develop a core business model, should he decide he wants to move forward, and I'm eventually going to talk about that. But with a clear strategy from a sound core business model, he can detail out strict deal criteria, which then I personally recommend he should attempt to buy regionally. But given the market, and if he wants to grow fast, he's going to have to expand his footprint to encompass most of the country. Since he's a first-time buyer, he has significant knowledge gaps. He's either going to need to jump them himself by learning, or he's going to have to outsource them. Given that he has a full-time job and a family, for John, outsourcing the knowledge will probably be the most efficient path. So, he should begin to assemble a team and go big. Here's some hard-hitting truth. Mobile home parks, with some exceptions, take a lot of work. I exchanged a full-time corporate job for a full-time entrepreneurial job, and I only own equity in 5 deals. If being a property manager in some capacity, large or small, doesn't sound appealing to you, I encourage you, begin with the end in mind. Sam, on the other hand, is a middle-aged corporate banker that makes a strong $100,000 a year and has plenty of job security. That stable $100K plus a year banking job is the goal many a business school student imagines to motivate themselves through quant class. But, like many, myself included, Sam has realized through actually experiencing corporate America that this job is slowly torturing him and not giving him what he truly wants out of life. Enter mobile home parks. The dream of coupon clipping, low maintenance, high yield real estate provides a mental escape for Sam during yet another soul-crushing staff meeting featuring his egotistical boss, who, by the way, thinks he's just crushing it like LeBron James, even though this guy is just a lowly middle manager 6 degrees away from the CEO. So, Sam escapes by imagining more time with his girls and having the retirement he wants. His logical next step is to research anything he can get his hands on. But this research has led him to the same conclusion John has, which is that vanilla 2,000 pads. Here's the thing. Sam doesn't actually want 2,000 pads. After speaking with him several times, turns out all Sam truly wants is time with his family. Sam doesn't need to be rich. Therefore, Sam really only needs 2, maybe 3 mobile home parks to achieve his dream. So what does Sam do then? Sam doesn't have close to $2 million, nor does he even have close to $200,000. So what Sam needs to do is he needs to find some turnkey parks, some seller carry options that allow him to take it down on his own with favorable terms. Now, unlike John, Sam can afford to be even stricter on his deal criteria and can wait even longer as he only needs 2 or 3 to be able to quit forever. Sam also has the ability to avoid major MSAs, where the cap rates are just stupid compressed right now. Another really important point is that Sam needs to avoid any and all turnaround projects, because unless he hires help, he doesn't have the necessary time to devote to turn them around himself, nonetheless gain that knowledge to do it himself. So he really needs to look for that turnkey opportunity. 2 well-educated, smart, hardworking men with completely different ultimate goals arrived at the exact same initial strategy. How? The truth is controversial, but I'll be the one to say it. The mobile home park industry lacks diversity of thought. 2 people with 2 totally different ultimate goals should never wind up at the same strategy. One of my goals with this podcast is to help break up this singularity of thought. What's the best way to start that? To begin with the end in mind. Regardless of what level you're at, you need to take time to think about what you want from this industry, and then take a step back, map out, with specific math, exactly how to get there. With that specific plan in place, deciding becomes quicker and easier, allowing you to find more of the right opportunities to achieve not only success in your business, but also your desired ideal lifestyle. Let's talk some strategy. Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, offers the insight of the hedgehog concept, which he defines as the intersection of what you're passionate about, what you can be the best in the world at, and what drives your economic engine. This concept argues that the hedgehog's simplicity beats out the complex strategy of the fox. Or to practically relate this to the mobile home park industry, when an opportunity presents itself, the hedgehog decides quicker and easier his course of action, allowing him to spend more time and energy on things that truly matter. My business partner Ian Tudor and I formed Archimedes Group in the summer of 2015. We were both in our 20s and had essentially zero industry knowledge and very little capital. I actually had more student loan debt than capital available for equity. We both had a plethora of excuses not to start this business, but we pushed through that, and as you can guess, our first activity was building our strategy. That core strategy revolved around us using our careers as the medium to which deliver the lifestyle we wanted. With career goals and personal life goals aligned, building the strategy was easy. Now, for me to detail out specifically what we put together before you have had a chance to do the same will be a hindrance to your progress because it will ultimately influence what you come up with. So I'm going to leave the specifics for later. But with that strict deal criteria and that strong core business, the necessary sacrifices and risks Ian and I would need to take to be successful became really clear. We're all experiencing this frothy market together, meaning lead generation for all of us is going to be a massive time suck and a grind. If you aren't efficient, you're dead. Like Steve Jobs said, it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important. What are you willing to sacrifice? I'll use my own journey thus far as an example. So I mentioned to you earlier that when beginning, you'll have significant knowledge gaps that you can jump either by learning the skills yourself or outsourcing them. With our limited funds, Ian and I knew outsourcing was not going to be an option. You see, I grew up in an upper middle class environment, attending private school my entire academic career, including college and graduate school. I had never even driven through a mobile home park until 2015. I acknowledge that I lived in a homogenous bubble that through introspection, I realized I had to break if I was going to be successful in this industry. So, when we sourced our 527 lot park, and Ian and I had a chance to be actual property managers as part of the deal, we jumped at this opportunity. I didn't know really basic things, like what does a mobile home even smell like? What does it feel like trying to sleep in one during a thunderstorm? How do people behave in these neighborhoods relative to mine growing up? You see, all of these questions I can now answer confidently as Ian and I trade off weeks in Atlanta, sleeping on blow-up mattresses while eating way too much frozen pizza after clocking in consistent 12-hour days. My wife thought I was nuts. Why would I leave a cushy bank job and a nice middle-class home in the suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina, to go and work and live in a trailer in Clayton County, Georgia? Which, by the way, getting your spouse's buy-in will be left to another episode. But ultimately, I realized this was a sacrifice I needed to make in order to gain the requisite knowledge of how to operate from the front lines. So for you, you'll need to be honest with yourself about what you know and what you don't know. You need to make your unknown unknowns become known unknowns. From there, you can figure out what sacrifices and risks you'll need to take to get where you're going. Here are 4 activities that are completely worth your time: improving skills, making a business plan, forming relationships, finding mentors. First and foremost, anything that with time you'll get faster and more efficient at is worth your time. For example, valuing deals, but only if you go for volume. Don't tinker on the same deal too long. Due diligence, same rule applies. It can definitely lead to analysis paralysis, but you need to be efficient at it, so improve those skills. Making a business plan, completely worth your time, because eventually you'll have done it enough times that you can pretty much just copy and paste anytime you have a new deal, which will make you quicker. Forming business relationships with investors, bankers, brokers. I can't stress enough how important this is, especially before you even go and look for any deals. If you don't have everything in line and ready to go when you have your first deal, you will crash and burn. And finally, find mentors. Lots of people won't give you the time of day, but some will, and they'll inject rocket fuel into your journey. There's a lot in this industry that's just not spoken about or written down that you'll need to learn with time. Mentors can help you get there faster. Now, the opposite end of this coin is the unproductive bucket. First and foremost, like I just mentioned, looking for deals before you have anything else that I mentioned before. It's like a dog chasing a mailman. It finally gets the mailman, then has no idea what to do. You don't want to be like that. Have your ducks in a row before you even start looking. Slaving over financial models. Look, the right deal is going to be a no-brainer. It's just going to feel right. Excel, while wonderful, it gives you a false sense of confidence. It can also give you misplaced fear. Put a little bit more simply, if you have to fudge the numbers to make it work, you're doing it wrong. Finally, asking the wrong questions. This will solve itself once you have your core strategy in place, but you really need to not worry about the smaller things and focus vehemently on your core strategy. I'd like to end with a quote. Einstein said, "If you give me an hour to solve a problem, my life depended upon the solution, I'd spend 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I knew the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes." How do you optimize your schedule and avoid time sucks? Answer: Endgame. Strong Endgame will allow you to reverse engineer exactly what you want in your life, using your career as a medium to obtain whatever lifestyle you desire. Thus, when problems and opportunities arise, the answers will be obvious. Thanks for listening. This is Ryan Naris. Did my podcast help you? If so, I need your help too. So I can provide you with more helpful content, leave me a 5-star review. That 20 seconds of your time means the absolute world to me. There's really no better way to say thank you. Let's connect. Reach out to me on my website, www.archimedesgrp.com. Leave me a line with some feedback so I can better serve you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Imagine if you had a place where the most influential books were summarized into their main points in a simple, quickly digestible fashion. Go see my friend Manny at 2000 Books. It's a free podcast and website that details out the 2 to 3 insights you ultimately ever really remember from each book you read. It's the most efficient way to consume the most influential books on the market.